Are we going to see, guys, the acronyms, the government acronyms are all out there. There's CAF, Connect America Fund. There's the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. And then you've got E-rate. And E-rate is focused around that networking, that infrastructure in the school, even one-to-one programs. And then that child goes home with that device, that tablet, and they go home to mom and dad who can't afford internet, which is exactly what you're talking about, Russ. Are we going to see the federal government kind of merge these RDOF? I think the newest acronym is CRRSAA, and I don't even know what the whole deployment is. But the one thing I see that's encouraging, guys, is the government is actually going to reimburse WISPs for actually serving at the home. So they're coming up from the bottom and they're serving from the top to provide money to the WISPs. I guess my question, in a long verbose way, maybe I'm buzzed, is are we going to see a blending of these RDOF, CAF programs and E-rate programs come together? Let's go down that rabbit hole.
Well, it's interesting, Zach. Even like I know as like a state, that's the approach we did, and that's, and you kind of see this. For me, I see this three-legged stool problem that you have, right? It's like you go into an area and it's like, is the issue infrastructure? Is the issue cost? Or is the issue devices? And, I was just looking, just this afternoon, I was looking at a winery location. They were having poor broadband. And I looked at one of the providers. What?
That was a tough site survey.
Oh, it's awful. I mean, the companies I have to work with, it's, yeah. Anyways, but their option was to get for broadband. Actually, they couldn't even get broadband speeds as defined by the FCC. It was 24 was the 20 down, 4 up, but that was $160 a month. And we've certainly experienced this too with legislators, which is a blessing in disguise, who only can get access to satellite. And they're like, well, we're on all these Zoom calls. And so I now have a $300 a month internet bill. I mean, and for people making 35,000 a year, maybe their household's making 42, maybe 45, maybe if we're lucky in some of these rural areas, a $300 internet bill, a $60 internet bill is quite a bit of money. So
mortgage payment.
Yeah, it's a huge issue. So I was really happy, like this year. So in addition to kind of like carving out dollars for infrastructure, we also carved out money for devices using CARES Act dollars, and then using money to also cover and defray some of the costs of internet subscriptions. So we went and bought devices for all the students. So all the school districts submitted to the Department of Ed and said, this is how many students in our area don't have devices. Let's buy some. So they went out and bought a whole bunch and sent them all students. And so I think your point is right on. We have to start working on these approaches. And it was, I got this story from an ISP, and there was a family in North Idaho, and they were struggling because the kids at home, the only thing, so one, they didn't have internet, so they didn't have broadband at all. And then two, they were trying to do schoolwork, and the only device they had at home was the mom's cell phone. That was it. And it's like, how are these kids supposed to even keep in touching distance with their other students, let alone like trying not to fall too far behind? And so that's a huge issue, because you figure, and I am not alone. I talked to, it's like we have other counties that where I talked to a county commissioner, and they're like, we're seeing students all over the place that don't have access to internet, and how are we supposed to learn? And they don't have anything to connect with. So it's a huge challenge that needs to be addressed.
I guess you think about it, that we really do focus on public-private partnerships as truly the infrastructure, the delivery, the maintenance. We don't really, it really needs to take it to that next level of, Zach, what you're saying, like it's, and Eric, like all the way to the home, right? It's not just that. How do you, both from education, marketing, selling, like informing, like all the pieces of the pie, not just, where the money is so much focused on just the build. And, if they build it, they will come kind of model. Well, that doesn't always solve the problem, right?
No, you've got to be out there. I mean, for these models to work, I mean, you still got to do the basics, right? You need to be out there educating the community. If you are able to obviously make, you know, a new broadband infrastructure project happen, it's all the model works obviously with high penetration, right? So you've got to be out there educating the community that you're coming into the community, what you can do with this service. I mean, it really requires, especially when it's fiber, high touch, right? You need to be coming at them in every single angle to really help them understand what is happening. Because unfortunately, these folks have been living in a, you know, very disadvantaged, you know, aspect for a long time, and they don't know. So we got to still continue to do the basics, right? So great that, you know, if we can coordinate with all this federal funding and state, and somehow it aligns properly, which right now it's a disaster. But if all that happens, we build the network. Well, we got to get them on the network now. Whether the Muni owns it, the ISP owns it, they're together. We got to remember the basics of still educating the community to what we actually now can do. There's plenty of networks that have been built that especially the early days of the municipalities that were absolute failures because they didn't know how to go out and market and educate folks and, you know, make the connection for the transaction to happen, you know, with the homeowner or the business owner.